Hi guys, so I just finished a 3-week elimination diet and I wanted to share my progress through the weeks on how the diet went for me and my takeaways in case anyone on here is interested in it or has food sensitivities or allergies and wants to do some self-exploration with it. So just to start the video, I want to say that if you have a pre-existing condition like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, anything that you're managing with your diet, do not change your diet before talking to a doctor. The elimination diet should be done under doctor supervision if it's used for serious allergies, anything that has to do with a life-threatening condition. If you have a lot of bloating, a lot of uncomfort, feeling like you're just not sure what foods are working for your body and not, I think that it's worth trying to explore some of these options when you go to the grocery store. So with that being said, elimination diets really work to rehab your gut and to eliminate some of the most high impacting foods on your gut. So I eliminated soy, wheat, dairy, eggs, and corn from my diet for 3 weeks in order to identify food sensitivities. And those are part of the top 5 allergens in the US. You can look up a list of top 10, and if you notice that there are certain things that after you eat them you don't feel great, eliminate those. You can choose as many or as few as you want to start with. It's really flexible to what your current experience with eating these foods is. In addition to eliminating those 5 items, I also cut down on coffee and alcohol just because those things can be really irritating for the gut, and I wanted to just offer the best chance that I had over these 3 weeks to really heal and start from a healthy place when I reintroduced these foods. So over the 3 weeks, I had 1 glass of wine and 3 or 4 cups of coffee. And since then, I've also significantly cut down on those things just because after 3 weeks, it felt really good to just stay on that track. So I've been doing a lot more tea, a lot of mocktails, and things like that, which has been fun. So just additionally, if you're not experiencing bloat or any gut-related symptoms, it could also be linked to rashes, inflammation, soreness, anything like that. So if you have a desire to start looking at your diet, I do ultimately recommend doing something like this just to kickstart into a healthy path for your digestion system. So I'm going to start by going through my experience with each week. So in week 1 was very difficult. If this is something you're considering, I do recommend that you take some time and just consider what your experience with this might be, especially if you're somebody who's cutting out a lot of dairy or a lot of corn product or processed food. If you do consume a lot of those foods, your symptoms the first week might be more extreme or less extreme. It really depends person to person. For me, I experienced 2 or 3 days of depression in the middle. I would say days 3 through 5 or 6. I was in a pretty low spot. It was hard for me to emotionally really deal with anything. It was really hard, especially for my fiance. So to get through that, at the time I wasn't sure if it was the diet. Looking back, it's kind of silly to think it wasn't, but I didn't think I consumed that much of those items, so I didn't think my withdrawals would be that serious, but they were. I stuck through it, and it was worth it, but those few days were very difficult. So if you're considering doing something like this, reach out to me, find a support group before you start it, even if it's your partner, your siblings, your mom, your dad, your friend. Have somebody who knows that you're going through it and who knows that you might have some symptoms that you need to just talk through with somebody. Because really what it took for me was talking through it with my partner. He is actually the one who pointed out that it was probably the diet, and we worked through it together. So having someone with you during the process is really important. If you want to reach out to me, you can email me through my website, inkwellness.co, or some other resources that I'll link at the end of the video. After days like 5 and 7 is when I really started seeing the benefits. So first week, I kind of just felt crappy emotionally. Bloating started going down around day 5 or 6. So I started seeing a little bit of weight loss in the first week of switching over to the elimination diet. Week 2, I didn't have any of those depression symptoms. I saw a huge increase in my energy. I was sleeping through the night, running more than I've ever ran in my whole entire life in week 2. I consistently ran 3 miles, which for me was a huge accomplishment. And I ran 1 mile in under 9 minutes, which for me, those numbers are, I never really even imagined that I would hit those milestones, especially in the summer. So that was huge. I still had a little bit of bloat, but overall feeling really good. Starting to see the effects. My skin was really clear. Really feeling like good from the inside out. The week 2 is where I had 1 glass of wine. It was really the only thing I was craving throughout the whole 3 weeks was wine. And I felt perfectly fine. I didn't wake up feeling like extra groggy. I didn't feel like it hit me any faster. It had probably only been like 10 to 12 days. So it wasn't like I was withdrawing from alcohol or anything like that. But it was nice to feel like I had some self-control over it. I wasn't just drinking to drink. I was having a glass because I really wanted it and enjoyed it with dinner. And that felt really good to have the power over something like that. So in addition to all of the physical benefits you'll feel, there are some mental components to it too. Feeling like you have control over your diet, like you really know what you're putting into your body and things like that. Moving into week 3, I feel like I was seeing full benefits. So I noticed that I was thinking really clearly and I was able to focus for longer amounts of time, and that I was still getting really good sleep. I had almost no bloating, which for me, I feel like I've only ever known my body with bloat, honestly. So really cutting down on my bloating. I definitely noticed that my gut was healing because of that. Foods weren't bothering me at all. I could eat a whole meal, feel really good and satiated afterwards, and wake up still feeling good. I ended up losing 4 to 5 pounds at the end of the 3 weeks. I did weigh myself every single day, and the total ended up being like 4.5 pounds, which was just an added bonus. I didn't really expect that because, like I said before, I thought I was eating pretty clean. So to have that was an extra added bonus that made me feel good too. My key takeaways are that I got obviously very into reading every single label that I was purchasing of food. So corn and soy are in everything. Luckily, I work at Whole Foods, so I have a lot of alternatives available to me, but seeing the typical processed foods like sauces, pre-made foods, spices, a lot of them do have soy, corn, dairy, all of these things that I was avoiding. So being really strict on your nutrition labels and looking at what you're buying and sticking to more whole foods like veggies, whole grains that do not have wheat in them, fruits, stuff like that was really the bulk of my diet. I did a lot of home cooking throughout the 3 weeks. I maybe ate out once. So that could have also been a huge reason that I lost a few pounds, was just because I was eating a really whole plant-based diet throughout the whole time. After the first week, it did get manageable. So first week, I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it, was really difficult. I wasn't sure if I was going to stick to it because of how bad I was feeling. But once I got past that point with support, I saw full benefits. Feeling great. I'm still feeling great. I haven't fully immersed back in my diet before. So I'm still eliminating eggs, dairy. I've had soy, wheat once, and I haven't added corn in either. So I'm still feeling really good. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to incorporate these foods back into my diet. I'm not exactly sure yet. So more to come on that. And I think if you do deal with bloat, food sensitivity, like I said, this is something I would do a little research on, do some exploring, really look at the labels that are currently in your pantry, and you might be surprised at how much of these products you are consuming, because that's one of the things I couldn't believe I was consuming as much soy as I was. I had tofu maybe 4 times a week, and I kind of thought that was it. But when I did some digging, I saw that I was having it at almost every single meal. So bringing awareness to these products is something I think was so valuable. If you want to learn more about this or see other things that I'm up to, you can visit inkwellness.co and sign up for my newsletter. It's monthly, and I share different tips and wellness articles that I've been putting together to help you live your best, healthiest, happiest life. Thank you, guys.